If you're a designer or a developer who works with custom fonts, you need to pay attention to FontForge today. A trio of critical remote code execution flaws was just disclosed that could turn a simple font preview into a full system compromise.
I'm Morgan, that's Alex. We're looking at a heavy day for supply chain and browser security. Let's break it down.
So, FontForge, it's the go-to open source tool for font editing, but it has a specific file format called SFD, Spline Font Database. Researchers found 3 distinct ways to exploit how FontForge parses these files. The first is CVE 2025-15269, which is a use after free vulnerability.
Wait, font files? This reminds me of those old Windows kernel bugs where just rendering a font in a browser could get you hacked. Is this the same kind of open and your owned situation?
Exactly. It requires user interaction, meaning you have to open a malicious SFD file or visit a page designed to trigger the exploit. With CVE 2025-15269, the program doesn't check if an object still exists before trying to operate on it. It's trying to use memory that's already been freed, which an attacker can use to execute their own code.
And there are 2 others, right? I saw CVE 2025-15270 and CVE 2025-15271 on the list. They look like twins.
They basically are. Both involve improper validation of array indexes during SFD parsing. If the software doesn't verify that the data it's reading fits within the expected slots in memory, it can result in an out-of-bounds write. Again, that leads straight to remote code execution.
The scary part for me is the social engineering angle. Designers share font assets on forums and GitHub all the time. If I'm an attacker, I'm not just sending this to one person. I'm uploading a cool new font to a community hub and waiting for someone to open it in FontForge to tweak a character.
Right. And because FontForge is used to create fonts that might end up in other software, it's a classic upstream target. If you're using it, make sure you're checking for updates immediately. These are all rated at an 8.8 out of 10 for severity, so they aren't something to ignore.
Speaking of upstream targets, we have to talk about this Trust Wallet situation. They just lost $8.5 million, and it looks like a developer's nightmare come to life.
Yeah, this is the Shai-Hulud supply chain attack, or SHA-1-Hulud, depending on who you ask. Trust Wallet confirmed that their Google Chrome extension was compromised because their developer GitHub secrets were exposed.
Shai-Hulud. Someone's a Dune fan. But the sandworm in this case really did swallow the spice. If the attackers had the GitHub secrets, they basically had the keys to the kingdom. They could modify the source code of the extension itself, right?
Exactly. This was the second iteration of this specific attack pattern, hitting in November 2025. By getting into the GitHub environment, the attackers could inject malicious code into the browser extension that users trust. When the extension updates, the malicious code is delivered directly to the user's browser, where it can then drain the wallet.
It's that same pattern we keep seeing. Don't hack the user, hack the tools the user trusts. And it's not just crypto wallets. Have you seen the report on DarkSpectre? It's a massive browser extension campaign that's reportedly hit nearly 9 million people.
Koi Security is the group tracking this one. They've attributed it to a Chinese threat actor. They were already watching 2 other campaigns called Shady Panda and Ghost Poster. But DarkSpectre is the third piece of that puzzle. It's hitting Chrome, Edge, and Firefox.
8.8 million users worldwide. It feels like browser extensions are becoming the new macro-enabled Word document of the 2020s. We install them for productivity or fun, but they have so much visibility into our web traffic.
They really are a blind spot for a lot of endpoint security. If an extension is malicious, it can see what you type, steal session cookies, or redirect your traffic. DarkSpectre is particularly sophisticated in how it spreads and maintains its presence across different browsers.
And while we're on the topic of unauthorized access, Unleash Protocol just got hit for nearly $4 million. This wasn't a browser extension, though. It was a multisig hijack.
This one is interesting because of the how. Someone executed an unauthorized contract upgrade. In decentralized finance, these protocols often have a multisig, a wallet that requires multiple signatures to approve changes. The hackers managed to hijack that process to push an upgrade that allowed them to just withdraw the assets.
So they didn't just find a bug in the code. They changed the code to include a bug they could use. That's 3 stories in a row where the trusted update or development process was the actual vulnerability.
It's a trend. Whether it's GitHub secrets for Trust Wallet or multisig keys for Unleash, the management of the software is often easier to break than the software itself.
Switching gears to something a bit more physical, did you see the banned items list for the New York City mayoral inauguration? Zoran Mamdani's team is not playing around with tech security.
I did. They specifically banned the Flipper Zero and Raspberry Pi devices from the event. It's a very specific signal that they're worried about electronic disruption.
It's kind of wild to see the Flipper Zero on a list next to things like umbrellas or signs. I guess they're worried about someone messing with the sound system or maybe trying to clone badges.
Most likely. A Flipper Zero can be used for signal jamming, replay attacks on wireless entries, or even just messing with digital displays. And a Raspberry Pi can be a very discreet drop box for network sniffing. For a high-profile event like an inauguration, it makes sense to just say, leave the pen testing tools at home.
Fair enough. Before we wrap up, we should mention Disney. They're paying out $10 million to settle a lawsuit over children's privacy. Apparently, they were mislabeling videos to allow data collection for targeted ads, which is a big no-no under the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act.
COPPA is one of those things that regulators are getting much more aggressive about. $10 million is a drop in the bucket for Disney, but it's a reminder that, oops, we mislabeled that, isn't a valid defense when it comes to kids' data.
And finally, a bit of a vibe check on the industry. Dark Reading is reporting that AI skepticism is actually on the rise. After a year of AI everything, people are starting to ask about the actual return on investment and whether we're in a bit of a bubble.
It was bound to happen. We've seen a lot of AI-powered security tools that are really just basic automation with a better marketing team. The skepticism is healthy. It forces vendors to actually prove that their models are catching threats that traditional heuristics miss.
Exactly. Let's see some real results, not just more chatbots. All right, that's the board for today. If you're using FontForge, update it. If you've got crypto in a browser extension, maybe double-check those permissions.
And keep an eye on those GitHub secrets. That Trust Wallet hit is a lesson for every dev team out there. The FontForge issues are CVE 2025-15269, 15270, and 15271. Get those patched.
Your daily AI-powered security briefing. If this saved you time, subscribe. We're here every morning.
Stay patched, stay paranoid.